All right, thanks a lot for coming for this wonderful occasion. I will be your speaker tonight, and my name's James Ochora. When I was a little bit younger, I'd gone to a secondary school, which was a boarding school, and while I was at the boarding school, I ran out of sugar, oil, and other things like soap. So I decided I could try to borrow these things from my friends. But every time I borrow, some other times they give me something, but some other times they were using a certain word that was a little bit weird. And the question they will ask me is like, "Are you from the mountains?" And I will respond, "No, I'm not from the mountain." But then while I was still staying there or studying, I realized that the students were using a lot of this word to a lot of other students who were lacking some other things, and they have gone borrowing. And now that I understand the meaning of that, I can ask you that question: that are you from the mountain? Of course, I know your answer will be no. And if you are not from the mountain, then you are from the family. And that is what we are talking about tonight. And we'll talk about what is a family and how can it be defined. What roles does it play in our life? And most importantly, the reason why you need it, the reason why I need it, why we cannot do without it. And in this world that we live in, there's a lot of things going on in the society to the point that they can't even decide what is the definition of a family. But I'm going to give you a brief definition of a family. According to Health Resource and Social Administration, a family is a group of two or more persons related by birth, marriage, or adoption who live together. All such related persons are considered members of one family. For instance, if an old married couple, their daughter, her husband, and two children, the older couple's nephew, all lived in the same house or apartment, they will be considered members of a single family. And that's just a simple definition of a family. And as we know about family, families have always been there since the world began. And the first family on earth was the family of Adam and Eve. We do read a lot of that from the scriptures. And family are basically formed when a couple get married, children are born or adopted, or in other ways that I'm not focusing on today, but I'll leave that for the world to deal with. According to the research from the United States, the National Center of Health Statistics, approximately 4.5 million people get married every year in the US, and approximately 42 to 53% of those marriages eventually end in divorce. And this doesn't sound good, and I'm sure it's something that will make you feel like not getting into such stuff or getting married or having a family, because you might be afraid of this sort of divorce. But I can assure you that how do we know that you've failed if you have never tried? It is worth trying because it does have a lot of benefit to have a family. And Jenny Bristow, a journalist in the United Kingdom, quoted the falling marriage rate and high divorce rate, the declining fertility rate, and the rising number of working women, the cultural tolerance of homosexuality, atheism, singledom, abortion, childishness, artificial insemination, lone parenthood, and what used to be called living in sin in all society in our times has become a normal thing, and which is quite concerning. Our statement make it clear to each of us to know that families are under attack, and explain why there's a lot of people who don't want to have a family. Perhaps you are having a lot of financial difficulty and you think family will be a burden to you. But I can assure you that in the long run, it will be a blessing to you again. And I'm going to explain why it's going to be a blessing to you just in a few seconds. In our life, the importance of a family. Elder Perry, Tom L. Perry said, we also believe the strong traditional family are not only the basic unit of a stable society, a stable economy, or a stable culture of value, but they are also the basic unit of eternity and the kingdom and government of God. So if God or Heavenly Father does put His interest in the family, then it's something that is very important that you also need to put your focus on or attention on it. Family is important because they offer support, security, coupled with unconditional love. They look out for the best in you, and they're the one that can make you progress. They can guide you on what to do. Family can really understand you and bring you back to that place of peace in the world of challenging and chaos and a lot of things going on. The last place you are going to get back to and then have that peace of mind is going to be your family. Family is really, really important in doing that. And then one thing that is much more important is that they can guide you down to the path of mortality when it comes to outside influences such as dealing with drugs, alcohol, peer pressure, and etc. They only bring you back to your feet or mess up your life. And these things that are hard to deal with, but when you have your family, you always have that support. You always have someone who will be at least patting you at the back saying that things going to be all right. And that is so much important when you are going through a very hard time. They do teach us how to know our family history. And the most important thing about family history is that it shapes our persona in something positive and give us a sense of direction. Remember, if you don't know where you come from, you also don't know where you're going. But if you actually know where you're coming from, you really know where you're going and you know how you want to get there, which is really, really important. And these are very wonderful things that you are going to have around if you have a family. But if you choose not to, then you are going to miss all of these blessings. And as we are coming to the end of this talking, it has been nice talking about these things. And I'm sure that you have got something to think about and something that you can implement in your life. And at this moment, if you are not yet having a family, please, I plead with you to rethink about it, to look into the situation or look at what I'm talking about and make your mind to have a family. And I encourage all of you who are still younger that you go date. I encourage you to do this because it will really bless your life and it will be one of the best decisions that you have ever made in life. Thanks a lot and we'll meet next time. Bye.